Here's a theme song, you know it's not a mean song. It's a good song, just as it should song. American brews and tunes.
And they're about to fly. Should all acquaintance be forgot in days of old lang syne?
I think we had some parallel fists there.
Yeah, that's probably why it sounded so awesome.
It sounded like something. As Fat Mike would say, it sounded pretty awesome.
Pretty awesome. Did Fat Mike actually say that?
I don't know. I feel like he coined the term "awesome."
Really?
Yeah, but he didn't coin the term "nits." Oh, man. Welcome to a very fun episode of American Brews and Tunes. My name is Stephen Johnston.
My name is Jesse Titus.
And we're coming to a close in 2019.
Yeah, we sure are.
Close to the decade, one might say.
Well, that is... one might say that, and one would be accurate in saying that.
I'm just saying they don't have to say that.
It's almost like the end of a book, and you're opening the next chapter, or the next book in the series.
Yeah.
If each book was a decade.
Yes, a decade-long book. But anyways, just since it's this time of
the end year ending,
we're going to do something we probably should have been doing for the history of this podcast. We just never thought about it.
Yeah,
we're going to do our top 5 album of the year list.
Yeah, plus an honorable mention if you have one. I do.
I've got several.
Really?
Yeah. When I did this, I looked through all the albums that I enjoyed this year, and I came up with a list of all of them, and it was just massive. And then I had to narrow it down. It was no easy task, but I got there.
No, it's definitely not an easy task. It's one that you have to not take lightly. I should say before we start that we are not professional music reviewers.
No.
These are our personal opinions about which albums that we have listened to and have enjoyed.
So what Jesse is letting you know is that we are definitively saying that objectively these are the best albums of 2019. Unbiased and
unbiased. Yeah, definitely unbiased. 100% unbiased.
Yeah. So there you go. There you have it.
We listened to every single album that came out this year.
Yeah, it took a minute or two.
And these are the ones that made it. These are the ones that made the list.
Even albums that people recorded in their basements and never released.
Yeah, we sought those
out.
We have neglected to tell you that we have superpowers.
K-pop has changed me.
K-pop has changed you.
There's been a big boom in K-pop.
I don't mind K-pop.
I don't hate or dislike it, but it's...
I don't avidly listen to it, though.
I've got nothing against it. I just feel like it's been booming the past several years.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird.
It's always been around.
Yeah.
It's just now is booming. Anyways, before we get into those fun albums and whatnot, lists, top 5s, and all that jazz.
Yep.
Let's try a brew, shall we?
Let's do it.
We are going to try a brew.
A doozy of a brew.
A doozy or maybe a goodsy. I don't know.
A goodsy.
Whatever you want to call it. It's a collaboration. The main brewery that put it out is Evil Twin, which we've had some beers from them before. But they collabed with Lervig, which is a Norwegian brewery.
Yeah, I feel like we've had a beer where they've collabed with, or some other brewery has also collabed with them.
And it said it was brewed by Westbrook Brewing Co. They're from the U.S.
Okay.
So kind of like a 3-way collab.
Yeah.
Anyways.
What is this beer?
This is the Big Ass Money Stout 3.
Ooh.
And here's what the can says. 2 old friends and brewers decided to go crazy together once again. This time they met stateside to brew a rich, over-the-top, and unique stout. Guaranteed to impact your taste buds, this big-ass stout contains 2 essential ingredients that unite the Stavanger and New York. Stavanger, side note, is the place in Norway that the brewery is located.
Oh, okay.
So without context, that doesn't make any sense. Stavanger and New York. Produced and bottled for Evil Twin at Westbrook Brewing Co., Mount Pleasant, SC. Now, it doesn't say it on the can, but this beer was made with money and pizza. So they put legal tender and actual pizza in the brew process somewhere.
Is there going to be sediment of the of legal tender,
I don't think so.
or is it filtered?
I'm sure it's filtered, and I'm sure they cleaned everything to some degree before putting it in here.
They probably took all the money that they did make the beer with and dried it out
Yeah, maybe.
and maybe used it. Do you think they used $1 bills, $5 bills, $20 bills,
Monopoly dollar bills?
$50 bills?
No, it was legal U.S. tender, I believe. I don't know. That's a really good question.
If they used Monopoly money, that would just disintegrate in the beer.
Yeah, because that is actual paper, right?
But but legal tender is not just paper. It's like some weird form of linen.
Like some of the other big stouts that we've had from Evil Twin on this podcast,
That is black as
this
the
is
night.
black as night, and that's a
With
really,
a
really dark
really
head.
dark brown head.
Like a really
Wow.
chocolatey head.
And for those of you who do not know the term head, that is the bubbles on top of the beer, or the foam.
Yeah, like if you imagine a cartoon beer, it's got that massive
The suds.
amount of the sudsiness. That's the head.
That's the head.
Yeah,
So don't be weird.
It's not always an important thing,
It is sometimes, though.
but
a lot
for
of times
certain styles of beers, it's a nice thing to do. What it's good for is the bubbles will actually release the aroma of the
CO2,
beer.
and also the CO2.
It'll help you smell the beer a little better.
Yeah, you'll be able to smell a beer a little bit better, and you also won't get what's the right word? Not congested.
I don't know, belchy, gassy.
Yeah, you won't get as much buildup in your stomach.
Yeah.
It'll make it so you can drink more beer.
Yes, that is very true. What do you get off of this smell? It's really interesting.
It smells really weird.
Yeah, I mean, at
you
first
can
I got that
definitely-
stouty smell, but there's some
Yeah.
other things in there I can't
There are
really
definitely some other
put
notes
my finger
that,
on.
or your nostril on.
Oh, I did put my nostril on it accidentally. Got a little sudsy on there.
I don't know. Right now, I'm just kind of smelling the intense, like chocolate stout, like the normal stout scents.
And before we try this, I think it's an important thing to know that this clocks in at 120 IBUs,
Which is quite a bit.
and apparently the human palate can only recognize up to 100 IBUs. So anything beyond
Yeah.
that, you can't differentiate. So this is pushing the boundaries of what humans can taste
This is pushing the boundaries of humanity.
in respect of bitterness.
Yeah, in respect to bittering units.
And as far as the alcohol content, this is 17.2% ABV.
17.2%. Not the highest one we've ever had, but
It's up there.
It's-
Is it not the highest?
I think the highest one was the 120 minute, right?
Did you have that on the podcast?
Oh, I was
can't
talking
remember.
in general.
Oh, no.
In
Okay.
general, then that one at Beer Fest, that other Dogfish Head one was like 18.2% or something like that.
The fort,
Yeah, the Fort.
the fruited fort was
The
that one.
Fleet Fort.
I've got a fort and a fruited fort that I'm aging just to see how they go. Anyways, let's
Should
give
be
these a
good.
cheer and give it a try, shall we?
All right, sounds good.
As we always say on American Brews and Tunes, Shibbity-boo 2019! Sorry, I went wild card there a little bit.
Down the 2019 hatch.
Wow, whoa. I was about to say that's something I would say, but I got really overpowered by this flavor. Super sweet, super chocolatey, not that boozy.
You don't think it's boozy?
I think there's a booziness, but if I tasted this, I would say, oh, it's 9%. I wouldn't say 17.
I would maybe say like 10 or 11%.
Like when you taste the Dogfish Head 120 minute, you can almost
You're like,
get a liquory type burn.
Yeah.
Not here.
Yeah. There is a warmth note.
There's
warmth.
there's definitely a warming note to this, but it's not
Yeah.
as boozy as I would have anticipated.
It's really thick.
Yes.
It's like if you
Like if you had a deep dish pizza that's inside of this, like that thick.
or like if there was like some money in there too.
Yeah.
No, but it's really thick. It's like it almost tastes like a thicker version of chocolate milk.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say
Like
so.
it's that thick.
Kind of like it's really decadent. I know we've used that term
Yeah,
quite
it
a bit
is-
on this
It is very
podcast,
decadent.
but over the top is and they said that, not us. This is their description. Over the top, and that's what this is. It's over the top. It's really it's pretty good.
Now I'll
It's
be
intense.
honest. I cannot taste the money.
What does money taste like? I mean, if it's bills, I don't think it tastes like anything.
kind of like papery,
If it's coins, it's going to
it's
taste
metallic.
or coppery. Yeah.
Well, what do they make pennies out of now? It's not copper anymore.
I don't know.
What do they make it out of? Like 95% zinc and then 5% copper or something like
Who
that.
knows what they make it out of? They make it out of rubbish.
Something crazy.
Or rubbish.
But I like this beer though.
I like it quite a bit. It's very nice. It's very warm and good for a nice winter day.
That's very
It's
true.
stout season right now. It's getting a little chilly, even though it's a warmer day today.
Yeah.
In the mid 50s.
Well, I mean, in Nashville, it never really gets that cold.
Yeah, but it's when it's chillier temperatures in general. This is a good one for it.
Yeah, for sure.
Quite nice. I'm not sure that you can have many of these.
I think the fact that we are splitting this 16-ounce can
Good.
Is working.
Yeah, this might be quite a bit
well.
for one person to have. And it's not sessionable. It's not crushable.
No.
I mean, you could, but you're going to be hurting.
You definitely could.
You'd
but,
be out of commission.
I mean, you remember that video of the guy who chugged a Bourbon County?
Oh, that was. I mean,
what a waste.
You pay for it. You do what you want, but
yeah,
not something I would do.
But yeah, no, definitely not a chuggable beer.
Yeah,
but still very tasty.
I agree. So let's dive into our 2019 albums of the year.
Let's do it.
What we're going to do is we're going to go, each of us are going to say our fifth, then we're each going to say our fourth, and so on and so forth. Now, say if I give my number 5 and Jesse has that as his number 2, he's going to interject and say, oh, I have that as my number 2.
Yep.
Or how about just say, I have that on my list,
have that
just
as well.
not at this number. So you don't have to specify what number. Just say,
okay, yeah,
I have that at another spot.
Yeah, so then your number 1 will remain a secret the entire time.
Yeah, you have no idea what my number 1 is. Nobody does. Except for me. Let's dive in, shall we?
Let's do it.
My
What's your
number 5 album of the year, 2019, is Hello Exile by the Menzingers.
Oh, nice. I have that one.
But not number 5?
Not number 5.
Interesting. I'll just give a little blurb and some things I liked about it.
Yeah.
It's a 6th studio album following their phenomenal album, After the Party.
Yes, sir.
I would have, if After the Party came out this year, that would have been higher on my list. I think After the Party was a stronger, better album. But this album follows in its footsteps, and it's also phenomenal. Hello Exile is very good. They continue with the songs about getting older and longing and nostalgia. And I think they even kind of strayed a little farther away by putting some political stuff on here.
Yeah, well, yeah, they did.
Not like overtly anti-flag style.
No,
politics,
no.
But
it's still political, but it's not as aggressive as other bands' political songs are.
But it's on there.
It's more like commentary.
Yeah,
like political
Agreed.
commentary,
and not like I feel like no matter if you're a Republican or Democrat, if you listen to those political songs, you can get something good out of it. It's not that polarizing.
No, it's definitely not.
I'm also going to give my favorite 2 songs from each album. I don't know if you have any recommendations, but I figure if I limited myself to 2 songs, that'd be good.
Okay.
My favorite 2 songs are Strangers Forever and the title track, Hello Exile.
Nice.
One's
both really good songs.
A little more rock and roll, like a little more rock and punchy with that stereo guitar on Strangers Forever. Love that. And then Hello Exile's a little more folky.
Yeah.
Acoustic driven, but good.
Just a little bit more folky.
Yeah.
But that's not bad at all. Good choice.
Yeah. What's your number 5?
My number 5 is Native Tongue by Switchfoot.
Oh, I thought you would have put that up higher.
This is their 10th studio album, I believe.
I believe you're correct.
Yeah. And I didn't really think about my favorite songs beforehand. But one of the ones that really jumped out at me is The Hardest Art.
Oh, The Hardest Art's good.
The one that on this album, it kind of highlights what Switchfoot has kind of done over the past few albums. They've kind of like taken risks and progressed their style.
Yeah, and this one's a progression.
And this one is definitely a progression.
A little more electronic and
a little bit more electronic, a little bit more dancey.
Dance pad kind of. It's different, but the melodies and the harmonies are real tight. They got that female vocalist.
Yeah, who's really good.
I'd say that's one of my favorites on the record. That and what's that? Digging a Trench?
Or, the one that sounds like a Beatles song?
Yeah.
What is that song called?
I can't remember, but they play with some weird time signatures.
Yeah, they
it's
do.
Got that. I've got 20,000 I
think it's called Dig New Streams.
Dig New Streams.
Yeah, Dig New Streams.
Love, let us dig new streams. They played that when we saw them. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I also really like the title track.
Oh yeah,
Native Tongue. The whole album in general is kind of like really positive.
Yeah, it was I think it was Native Tongue they co-wrote with. I might get this wrong, but
the guys from Imagine Dragons.
I think it was a guy from One Republic. Not Ryan Tedder, the vocalist, but another member from the band.
Yeah, I think you're right. I couldn't remember if it was One Republic or Imagine Dragons.
Yeah, so it's interesting, but that's a really good album.
Yeah, fantastic.
Well done, Switchfoot. Shall we move on to album number 4?
Yes.
I picked Father of the Bride by Vampire Weekend.
Oh, that's not on my list.
Oh. It's their 4th album.
Yeah.
And they've been a band for a long time.
They
really take time. It was released 6 years after their previous album, which was
Modern Vampires
of the Modern Vampire City. Which I know you are like. I like that album.
Yeah.
I think you like it more than I do.
I definitely do, yeah.
I wasn't into it at all until you blasted it like a million times in a row.
Yeah.
And then I was like, yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah. And then didn't you say like you started repeating the songs in your head? You're like, crap, why is it stuck in my head?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And then I was like, I guess I do like it.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one, I think it's more straightforward than the previous album, Father of the Bride. A little bit more mainstreamy, I guess, a little bit more poppy.
Yeah, it's a little more poppy. This is after one of their members left as well.
Yes, he co-wrote a couple things, but he had left, and the majority of the album.
Yeah, so I'm not sure how much influence he had on the songwriting.
Yeah,
but maybe he had quite a bit of influence. Yeah. I'm not sure.
This album might be higher on my list, but I do have one flaw that I would pick out, and it's a little too long. So what I'd say, if they cut maybe 3 or 4 songs, I think it would be tighter all around.
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit too long. If they would have just
it's 18 songs long. That's long.
I mean, if they would have just done like a similar thing that other bands have done, where they put out an album with 10 songs on it, or even 12, and then in a little bit release
an EP.
Like, hey, these were songs that we also wrote during this time, and here's a little EP of little bonus tracks.
Yeah. But that's all right. It's still good.
Is what it is, and I do like that album. It's very very catchy.
My favorite 2 songs are Bambina.
Yep, I like that song.
This Life.
This Life.
It was tough to pick.
This life.
It was tough to pick some 2 favorites because there's a lot of really good ones on there. A lot of little elements from each song that I think are fantastic. But those 2 I think were the top 2 for me.
Yeah, for sure. My number 4 is 9 by Blink-182.
Oh, it's on my list somewhere.
Okay. This album, for me at least, kind of took me by surprise because I think we talked about this before, but whenever they released the singles, I was like, oh man, I don't know about this.
Yeah, the singles they put out were not.
I was like, oof, this is really poppy and really produced, and I'm not a big fan of it.
Yeah, like Blame It on My Youth. You hear that, you're like, oh,
yeah,
that's something.
Yeah. But since it has come out and I've listened to it a bunch, it's a solid album.
Yeah, solid listen straight through.
Definitely one of my favorites.
Yeah, so good
of the year.
Classic.
You could even say that it was my number 4 favorite.
You said that it was your number 4 favorite.
But I don't think there are many songs that I dislike on this album.
Samesies. Probably none.
Yeah.
There's none on 9.
None that I dislike. 9.
Moving up to Trace. My number 3 album of 2019 is Age of Unreason by Bad Religion.
That's mine too.
Number 3?
Yeah.
Nice. Air 5. Whoosh. You know what number release this is from the band?
25.
That's a little overarching. It's their 17th release.
Okay.
And it's like Vampire Weekend. This came 6 years after their previous record.
True North?
Yes. And it comes right before their 40th anniversary, which is insane.
Yeah.
That's like, I don't know. That's just crazy to think about.
Yeah, it's a long time.
Yeah, but
a real long time.
I think there's no weak tracks on this album.
I agree.
I think in many respects it's a classic Bad Religion album, but they did do some different things.
Yeah, they did a couple of different things than from you've listened to them more than I have, but they definitely not strayed from the path, but just kind of, you know how like Pennywise the band is just like they're Pennywise,
always the same.
They're always the same, like one level. Bad Religion just kind of took a few steps up for a couple songs, or a few steps down for a couple songs.
Yeah,
not like in pitch or anything like that, but
in style.
In terms of style, yeah.
Like that song "Big Black Dog" is a little dancey.
Yeah,
and then they have their folky song, "The Candidate."
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of change it up, and it's not all just like the fast punk, but of course there's a lot of fast punk.
Yeah, there definitely is quite a bit of that. Yeah. I think my favorite song on the album is "Lose Your Head."
That's a really good song.
I think it's my favorite.
Yeah, my top 2 would be My Sanity and the title track "Age of Unreason."
Yeah, My Sanity is also very good.
This album is the first to feature their new drummer, Jamie Miller, and their new guitar player, Mike Dimkich. I believe I'm saying that correct. It's a new lineup. They had Brooks Wackerman for a long time playing drums, and he's super tight. He left to go play with Avenged Sevenfold.
Yeah.
And I think with him, he was kind of like a machine, and he was so tight that their new drummer kind of drives the music in a way that's not as machine-like, a little more raw sounding, I guess. The drums aren't as in the pocket. So it gives it a little bit of a different feel, but not in a bad way.
Yeah.
Songwriting's on point for Bad Religion. Super political, as everyone figured they would be, but not like a attack Trump album. They went on record saying it's more of an examination of the
current
climate that allowed him to get elected.
Okay,
so kind of like the age of unreason. Like how do we get here? It's really good.
That's a very solid album.
Yeah. Moving on to album number 2.
Yeah, you gave your number 2.
Pup Morbid Stuff.
Pup Morbid Stuff. Nice.
Okay. For a second, I was waiting for you to give yours, but all right. So that's not on your list at all?
It is.
Okay. That's just what I was waiting for you to say or not. It's their third record, following what I would say is their breakthrough. Like their first record the self-titled was really popular, but I think they're
after DVP it was.
The Dream Is Over was definitely the breakthrough record.
Yeah, definitely.
I know we did the full album review of that one, kind of like some of the other albums we talked about, so I'm not going to go too in depth. But I think this is more tight. I think it's more dynamic, a little more experimental, and definitely a little more technical than their previous releases.
Yeah.
So they amped up everything for the better.
Yeah, they definitely took what really worked for them and
turned it up.
The Dream Is Over, and then just kind of turned it up from 10 to 11.
Yeah, they broke a little bit of new ground on some songs like Scorpion Hill. Like that's got some weird folkiness. And it's long.
It starts folky and then goes into almost like a not flogging Molly.
Folk punk. Kind of, yeah. Almost into their... It's got a whole bunch of different turns in that. But so it's kind of cool to see them do that, and then other songs have their weird time signature stuff.
Yeah.
It's really, really a good album. The songs really hold up live, too. We saw them recently.
Yeah, we did. It was an awesome show.
Yeah, I thought so, too.
It was a lot of fun.
My 2 favorite tracks are See You at Your Funeral and Sibling Rivalry.
Nice. Good choices.
I just love those lines in See You at Your Funeral when he's at the grocery store making healthy selections.
Yeah, it's very good lyrically in that album.
Very solid.
My number 2 is Here Comes the Cowboy by Mac DeMarco.
Oh, I was not expecting that. That really threw me off. Here comes the cowboy.
The reason I really like this album is it's very different from a lot of what is being put out.
Yes.
At the time. And it's also very different from what he has put out. And I don't know if you know this, but a lot of people have crowned him the prince of indie music.
I've heard that. I've also heard a lot of people say that he ruined indie music.
Yeah.
Which
I've heard people say that too. But so I don't know if this was a conscious decision by him to kind of go a 180 from like the really kind of poppy melodic music that he has been writing to more laid back, groovy, quieter music. Might have been. I think it's a solid choice anyway. Any way you look at it, I think this album's fantastic. Some of my favorite songs on it are On the Square, All of Our Yesterdays, K, or I know Heart to Heart is also a good song.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this album is fantastic. From the first time I heard it, I was like, ooh, this is interesting. This is different. This is weird.
But you liked it the first time you heard it?
Yeah.
I remember the first time I heard it, I was like, oh, this is different.
And weird.
Yes. No, I ended up getting into it more and more and more and more and more.
Yeah.
It is a good album.
It is.
I forgot that it was this year that was released.
Yep.
Weird.
Fantastic album.
Before we go to our number ones, do we want to touch on our honorable mentions?
Yeah.
Of which I have several.
Okay. You say one.
All right, I'll say all of my honorable mentions. Raconteurs, Help a Stranger, Lagwagon Railer, Aaron West and the Roaring Twenties, Routine Maintenance, Bayside and Terabang, and my last honorable mention is Switchfoot Native Tongue.
Yeah.
Yeah. All ones that were very close to making my top 5.
Yeah.
But didn't because there's just a lot of good music this year.
Yeah. I actually forgot that some of those came out, and those are definitely honorable mentions for me too.
I had forgotten about the Baggage record. I might have put that in there
yeah.
too. I'll honorably mention Baggage because that was a really good record.
Baggage, the album is called Life in Misophonia.
Yeah, which is it's not the fear of it's like the anxiety one gets from hearing certain noises.
Yes. I have no idea.
Like, everyone's got that, like the fingernails on the chalkboard.
Yeah.
But imagine that reaction or like that uncomfortableness to other noises. And that's what Misophonia is. Good record, though. Really cool. He's the drummer from the Swellers. He started his own side project. Really cool record.
Yes.
We'll do one off on that some other time.
Misophonia may cause a reaction to sounds such as dripping water, chewing, snapping gum, or repetitive noises such as pencil tapping. Fewer than 200,000 cases per year. But anyway, a couple of mine were Pup, their new album, and after Pup, I would say Joey Cape's album, new solo album.
Let me know when you give up.
Yeah, let me know when you give up.
Good one.
And then an album called Immunity by Clairo.
I have never heard of that.
Who you have probably never heard of, yeah. She is part of the, I guess, like, people would put her in the genre of, like, bedroom pop.
I don't even know what that means.
Or it's, like, kind of like chiller, indie type music.
Interesting.
Maybe I'll have to recommend that to you at some point.
Yeah, do it.
But it's a pretty good album. Definitely an honorable mention.
All right, let's go with your number one first.
All right, my number one.
So mine can be a big surprise.
I have noticed that there's not one that you've mentioned yet, Steve.
There's been plenty I haven't mentioned that have come up this year. What are you talking about?
My number one is Hello Exile, the Menzingers album.
I guess now that I think about it, you mentioning it and it hasn't come up yet, It makes sense. But I wouldn't have guessed that as your number one.
Yeah, it's ever since I was introduced to the Menzingers by you, they've been like a really just solid band in general that I can always go to and listen to.
They're phenomenal.
And so after the album After the Party, then this one came out. I had high expectations, and my expectations were met, and were beyond met, or whatever.
Exceeded.
However you want to say it. Exceeded. Yeah.
Beyond transcended.
Met. They have transcended my expectations. Yes. So that's the reason that's my favorite album. It's just a banger. It's just a great album.
No skippers.
Yeah.
It's
no
solid.
Skippers. Really great themes of getting older and trying to figure life out, and just being really honest about everything.
I do like that story behind Strangers Forever too. That he read that book
about Anna Karenina.
Yeah, whatever it is. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
About some lady who was married and unhappy, and then she's
like, it would just be better if we were like strangers forever. If we acted like we were strangers around each other.
They wrote a song on that.
Yeah.
Curious.
Pretty cool.
The music video for America, You're Freaking Me Out's really funny too with that alien.
Yeah, with the alien in it. Yeah.
Man, they're so good.
So ridiculous.
Yeah. We were at a Menzinger show and there was this Nashville ice cream company.
Yeah.
Did you try any of that?
No.
I didn't think so, but they created an ice cream just for the Menzingers and gave it out for free at the show.
Yeah.
It was called Thanksgiving
You're Freaking Me Out. Yeah. And there was a what was the flavor?
It was sweet potato with a couple. They put like some kind of pecans
leaf on it,
and a fried basil leaf, maybe, or mint leaf. I can't remember what it was.
It was not a mint leaf.
So good.
Yeah,
I wanted a bigger cup of it, but it was free, so they were just giving out little cups for everyone.
That does sound really good. The sweet potatoeness of that.
It was so good.
Sounds really tasty.
And now for my number one album.
What could it be? What could Steve's favorite album be?
My number one album of 2019 is 3 by Masked Intruder.
Really?
No, it's 3 times 3, 9 by Blink-182! Surprise, surprise.
For a second, I thought you were serious, and I was like, no.
No, if you put 3 threes together, it makes 9.
That's true.
Any year that Blink puts out an album, you know it's going to be my number one,
yep,
regardless of how much of a turd it is. Because I will polish that turd, and it will shine on the pedestal. I will love
on the
it.
pedestal that it deserves.
Yeah. This album is different all over.
Yeah.
It's arguably their ninth album. We've touched upon that
We've been over
in more
it.
detail because we reviewed this album on a one-off.
Travis and Mark both call it their ninth album, so
And I would too. Why
I think
not?
that's good enough for me.
Yeah. We already said it before, but it's the second one that features Matt Skiba since Tom DeLonge left. Tom's the big founding one. If you guys don't know who Tom DeLonge is, I'm surprised, but he's the one who sang All the Small Things.
Yeah.
He's got that high nasally voice.
Yeah.
But Matt Skiba filled in, and I feel like on California, the previous album that he was on with them, he didn't have that much of a voice in the writing and whatnot. This album, he really found his voice.
Yeah, it almost seemed like in California he was like trying to be Tom DeLonge
Yes.
in a way, or like he was trying to fill in for Tom DeLonge.
And even in the promo pictures, he was kind of wearing stuff that looked like Tom DeLonge style clothing.
Really?
It was goofy. But this one, you can get that touch of darkness, that touch of Alkaline Trio in there.
Yep.
It's really nice.
Yeah, I really like his songs on the album.
Yeah, I thought it was good. A little bit darker, a little more experimental than the other one.
Yeah.
They touch on some crazy subjects. Mark talks about depression. There's songs about mass shootings. Even a song about the abuse by the clergy. Ooh, dark. Only complaint is that it is overproduced. Straight from John Feldman.
Yeah, that was the only complaint that I had too, but I got past that. Though.
Yeah, I can get past it easily. But it'd be nice to have just a
would
good
I
raw
preferred
album.
more of a raw sound? Yes.
Samesies. Like the last one they had, like last
Dogs
recording they
Eating
had,
Dogs?
Dogs Eating Dogs was raw. It was awesome because they put it together real quick.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I think the songs are great. They're different than you expect. No skippers.
Yeah, definitely no skippers on this one either.
Yeah. The one thing I will say is I think the B side is stronger than the A side on this album. Once you hit that halfway mark, I think it's solid.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. If it were percentages, it might be like 60 to 40
Yeah.
for the
A side's still
B-side.
definitely good.
Yeah.
My favorite two songs on that are Dark Side and Hung Over You.
Hung Over You, yes.
Yeah.
Fantastic song.
Dope. But those are our top 5 respective albums of 2019.
Yeah.
It's been a good year for music.
And just remember that we've listened to every single album, so that's the definitive list.
Our taste is impeccable and unflawed with no touch of bias whatsoever. Even though I admitted to some bias on Blink-182, I completely disregarded that when putting this list together.
Let us know what your top 5 are, or just what your favorite album is.
Did you guys have any in common with us? Probably.
Probably, because it's the definitive list.
If you didn't, then you must not have listened to them, because that's the only explanation for why. No, I was listening to some other people's top albums of the year, top songs of the year, and like there's so many things that I've never heard of.
Yeah, no, same. Like,
but it's a really good way to get introduced to new stuff.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because I listened to a couple things that flew over my head this year that weren't on my radar at all. And stuff that I need to go back and listen to again. Really good
Well,
stuff.
maybe stuff that's on our list will have flown over other people's radar,
Maybe.
except for Blink-182.
Yeah, that flew over everyone's radar. It shattered the radar.
Shattered the
It jammed the radar, just like Spaceballs.
Oh, God.
Strawberry jam.
Strawberry.
Only one person would dare give me the strawberry jam. Lone Star.
Lone Star.
Remember John Candy in that movie?
Oh, my gosh.
His
yeah,
name was
he
Barf.
was Barf the dog, yeah. Oh, gosh. It's so funny.
I love Mel Brooks.
Yeah.
He's such a classic guy.
Yeah. Such a good humor.
Any thoughts on the beer as we've been having it throughout this podcast?
The flavors are really, really present now.
I agree. I think the sweetness is also becoming a little bit more present. A little more amped up.
Yeah, it's definitely more sweet. You're getting a lot more of the chocolate. Again, I mean, maybe there's like a slight breadiness from the pizza.
Perhaps, but
Maybe.
I'm really still not getting that booze as much as I thought it would. That
Really?
booze
I'm still getting
sensation.
a decent bit of booze.
I'm getting a definite warming sensation. Like there was certain
Like,
parts
there's
of the
some nice
podcast where I
warming
felt
in my
it.
esophagus.
Yeah,
right
I
now.
felt it. I was like, oh, nice.
Yeah.
But it's definitely not as powerful of a reaction or like a sensation as the Dogfish Head 120 minute or
Yeah.
something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Which I don't think we've reviewed that.
And I think
or did
I don't think we have either.
I think you did. I can't remember.
no.
We'll have an aged one on the podcast.
I think I had a 90-minute.
probably.
But either way, there's something inherent about the stout that kind of dumbs down a booziness
Yeah.
just because of how sweet it is.
And like this one is literally 120 IBUs. But stouts are more difficult to taste the bitterness because they're
definitely.
chocolate
There's
with so many malts.
so many sweet flavors
Yeah.
and so many malts that
that bitter hoppiness is really pushed down.
yeah.
Now, if this was an IPA at 120 IBUs, I'm sure we would know.
Yeah, I think so.
I had an IPA at it was either 140 or 160.
Oof.
It was, I think it was called the
Which one was that?
Mango Bomb or something like that by, I think it was Pizza Boy Brewing in Pittsburgh, a little small brewery up there.
Jeez.
You took a sip of it and it's fruity, citrusy, and hoppy. Not that potent at first. You're like, oh, that's not that bad. And then it's just like after you
Like a
swallow it,
wave of
it's just this comes up from your esophagus and it's just this potent bitterness that encapsulates your entire
Jeez.
mouth. And you're like, holy cow, where did this come from?
wow.
Yeah, it was
That's
funny.
crazy.
But if I would get it. I enjoyed that beer actually. It was
Yeah.
pretty good.
It sounds pretty good.
So potent.
There's some sort of mango flavor in it.
Yeah.
It sounds pretty good.
Some kind of mango. Anyways, this is our last episode of the year, 2019.
Last one.
When we come back, it's going to be episode number 88. That's a repeating number, which means we are going to be doing repeating bands. For the new year, we're also going to have a new format where each episode is going to be broken up into two. So we'll
parts,
have
yep.
do we want to call 88 part 1 and 88 part 2?
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. But what we're going to do is we're going to split up our reviews. So typically, Jesse and I will both have different albums that we will review in the
And
same
different
episode.
beers.
But in this new format, we're going to split them up. So one episode is my review of an album, and the next episode is Jesse's review, or vice versa.
Yep.
So that way, you just have shorter episodes.
Yeah, so it'll be, and normally whenever people want to listen to a review of an album or anything like that, normally you would just want to listen to one album and wouldn't want to spend the time listening to an album that you don't really care about.
Yeah, so we'll break it up for you guys.
Yeah.
That's how much we care.
That's right.
And it's the season of giving, so that's why we're giving it to you. We're giving you kindness and shorter episodes and just more content.
Yeah, so it'll be probably like 30 minutes per episode.
Yeah, isn't
Is
that
what
great?
we're going for.
If you like that, let us know. If you don't like that, let us know. That's our plan going forward unless we hear
Yeah.
otherwise.
That's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And so we wish you happy holidays and, be safe and get ready for 2020.
Yeah, 2020.
2020.
Oh, yeah! There's a new Anti-Flag record coming out.
Oh.
And it's called 2020 Vision.
Oh, really?
And it's coming out in 2020. It's gotta be intentional.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's, the album covers a big picture of Trump's face with like a X over it or something like that.
That is definitely an overt political album.
Yes. Yes, it is. Oh, man. I'm actually pretty excited for it.
They're coming to Nashville, right?
Yes. In February, March? I can't remember.
With somebody?
But it's another... I can't remember what it is. Mom Jeans or something like that.
Mom Jeans.
Doll Shoes or something. I can't remember. It's a
Yeah.
band I've seen before, but I'm drawing a blank.
Okay.
Anyways, we're coming up here on 38 minutes, so let's say we sign off.
Let's do it.
Coming at you, the end of 2019. My name is Stephen Johnston.
My name is Jesse Titus.
And this is American Brews. Oh, we didn't drink our beer yet.
We're about to cheers and then drink the rest of it.
Let's cheers and then let's sign off. I'm so excited because 2020 is almost here that I'm just signing off early.
Got ahead of himself.
Yeah, let's give a cheers and then finish
And then
our
sign
beer.
off.
Shibbity-beep-doo! All right, time to finish this beer. Delectable.
Very.
Rewind. My name is Stephen Johnston.
And my name is Jesse Titus.
And this is American Brews and Tunes. See you next year!
Here's a theme song, it's not a mean song. It's a good song, just as it should song. American Brews and Tunes. Shibbity-beeby-da!